All right, so there's a few early birds here. Can you guys hear us okay? If you can, unmute your mics and let us know you can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
No problem. How are you guys?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Just driving up to Bob Cajun.
Bob Cajun. Nice.
Yeah.
How far is your commute?
It's about 2 hours from the GTA, an hour and 45 minutes.
Nice. Perfect time to join us.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's why I just seen the email. I'm like, okay, I'm going to hop on. Why not?
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Anyone else? Anyone else on here? If you can maybe show yourself or unmute yourself. Say hello.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Carmen.
Hey, Carm.
Hey, Carmen. How's it going, man?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks for joining us today, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Who else we got on here?
I think we have more coming in.
We're just going to wait a few minutes, guys, just to make sure everyone can get in.
Before we get started.
Before we get started.
All good.
There's about 20 of you that registered so far, so let's see. Give it a couple more minutes and then we can get started. If anyone else joins us a little bit later, that's fine. We're gonna have a replay as well, but it's good that you guys are on live because you have this time dedicated and you can actually like go through the motions with us. It's almost like we're doing like a workshop, so we're gonna like really walk you guys through the planning. You know, if you have a desktop, a laptop, and you can take notes and you can follow along, great. Otherwise, if you're like Michael and you're just driving.
Yeah, I got to keep it in my, up here in the fucking memory box up here, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, don't worry. We'll send you guys a replays anyway. So if when you guys have time this coming weekend, sit down, rewatch
thank you
it,
guys. Thank you.
take the notes.
Yeah,
because this is going to be really good for this year, man, and beyond.
I see in the comments, iPhone 2, you can hear us, which is great. Which company are you from? If you could put in the comments. Name, oh, Mike May just joined us. Hey, Mike, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Mike, I remember you. Want to unmute yourself?
You're muted.
This better?
How are you?
How you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
No problem.
We met like what, like a month ago?
Right at Payvex.
Yeah.
I guess that was, about a month ago.
Yeah, in Chattanooga.
Right.
Yeah, me and Mike have been talking since then, so that's great.
I remember your name. It's not hard to forget. I think because my birthday's in May.
That's right. You know, my dad's is as well on May 1st. So
awesome. So he's a Taurus like me.
My mother-in-law's is May 1st.
Yeah. Nice.
We got Scott that just joined us.
Scott Brown. Hi, welcome, man.
Thanks for joining us, Scott. Alex, what's up, man? Sacramento, California.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Good, good, thank you. And Scott from Huntington Paving out in Long Island, New York. Michael, you're Georgia, you're in the GTA, right? Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto, yep.
Awesome.
Oakville, basically Oakville.
Oakville. And Mike May, you're out in Indianapolis, correct?
That's right.
Okay, guys, we're gonna as more join us, we're gonna get started just because there's a lot to cover. We took like a ton of notes that we want to share with you guys. Like I was actually up until like I think it was like 3:45 a.m. this morning, just because my mind was going yesterday, I'm like, there's a lot more. Like, I want to make sure that we, pack a lot in this hour or so that we have with you guys. Make sure we give you as much of the goods that are going to help you guys get to that next level this year in 2025 and beyond. So welcome to today's session. This is your 2025 Asphalt Business Growth Planning Workshop. And we're really excited because it's always fun thinking about the year ahead. And for many asphalt contractors, the season hasn't even started yet. Like, unless you're in the southern states where the work goes all year round. And put your comment like in the comments. I know we kind of brought up some of you where you're from, but others that we didn't get to yet, if you want to just put in the comments where you're from, where you're coming, where you're joining us from, do that. Go ahead and put that in the comments. See Evan, Ontario, and Niagara region. So Evan, you're in Niagara region, great. Okay, anyway, so yeah, put on your webcams if you can. Let's make this like really interactive as possible. You're only going to get out of today's session as much as you put into it, right? So let's try to make it as interactive as we can, and hopefully 2024 was a great year for you guys. Can we get you guys in the comments if you had to rate 2024 on a scale of 1 to 10, like 1 being it was terrible, right? You didn't hit any of your targets, maybe had a dip from the previous year, or let's say 10 being you crushed it, like you knocked it like right out of the park. You feel like, man, it was an amazing year. Let us know in the comments how you would rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
Hey guys, sorry. Hey, you guys there?
Vince, there you are.
You guys can't see me, right?
No, we can't see you yet.
I know, I got a new camera. This thing's not working properly.
It's okay. We just got everybody on. We're getting started. So we're just saying.
There you go. There we are. Hey guys.
Thanks for joining us, Vince.
We're just saying, like, if everyone could go in the comments and kind of rate their year 2024 on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like, it was a terrible year, you didn't hit any of your targets, and 10 being amazing, we crushed it, we knocked it out of the park, right? If you guys can put your ratings 1 to 10 in the comments.
I just want to read some of them out. So Evan, 7.5 out of 10. That's really good. Scott Brown, 8.5. Fantastic. Alex Coring, 9.25.
Wow,
so
nice.
You really nailed it. I know, Alex, you're on top of your game with all your metrics and your numbers and all that. So that's fantastic. Who else? Mike May, 7 out of 10. All right. And Vince Petrozza, 9.5. So Vince is killing it.
Awesome. Guys, what that tells us is you guys had a great year, which is good. And there's still always room for improvement, right? Always room to go to that next level. So on today's session, we're going to talk about your 2025 plan. Looking at the year ahead, getting super clear on like what you want to accomplish, where you want to go, and then reverse engineer all of that. Like reverse engineering the marketing strategy to help bring that goal into a reality. And there's massive power in this process. Okay, so just going to show you the slides here. And I don't know if you guys can see the screen here. So Greg's going to continue here for a bit.
All right, guys. So here's the plan for today. So number 1, we're going to get clear on goals and targets for 2025. We're going to get really clear by the end of the year, how much revenue do you guys want to generate? And we really want to believe what we write down. So there's power in that process by writing it down. And beyond that, we want to reverse engineer it, as Paulo mentioned earlier. So if that's what we want to accomplish by the end of the year, how does that break down by quarter? How does that break down by month? And so on. So if you can write that down, get it in place where you have it anchored in, where you're really clear on what you want to accomplish. Another thing you can do outside of this session today, which I did earlier in the year, is you can create a video speaking to yourself. And you could even do this in your vehicle when you're driving, if you have one of those mounts that your phone faces you, and just talk to yourself in December of 2025 and talk about how your year went, what you guys accomplished, and what that has done for you and your family. So that's a nice way of doing, like, speaking to your future self.
Okay, so from there, we're going to realign the KPIs, key performance indicators, right? So like, what do we have to track for to make that a reality? If the goal is to do 5 million, and that breaks down to a certain amount per month, to us, the most important KPI is how many leads do we need to generate? Like, what's the conversion rate that we need to have from a lead go to a book job? And then let's get that plotted. Let's get that plotted out so that we know exactly what we have to develop in terms of our marketing strategy to make that a reality. So we're setting the goals and the targets. We're going to write it down. And then we're going to reverse engineer again the KPIs, get really clear on that metric that we're shooting for on a monthly basis.
All right, and then after that, we're going to map out the plan. So we really believe a goal without a plan is just a dream. So we're going to take some time to say, okay, if that's the goal and that's how many leads we need to generate to make it a reality, then what do we need to do from a marketing perspective on our website, with our SEO, with our paid search, and all these other variables to make that happen and to make it a reality?
So we're going to break down the budget. If the goal is here, how much do we want to be spending on marketing on a monthly basis, right? If we want to get to a certain level, right? The channels like website, SEO, pay-per-click, social media, how do we want to distribute those funds, right? And then we're also going to talk about some important trends, like digital marketing, the way is changing a little bit. Actually, it's changing a lot, and it changes fast, rapidly every year. The search engine results pages are changing. The new emerging technology that's changing the way people interact and look for your services. We want to be aware of those trends so that we can be at the forefront of them and really capitalize on. So, you want to get ahead of the competition. And kudos to you for being in today's session, guys, and investing this time to kind of making sure that you guys are up to speed with the latest and greatest, right?
All right, and just to add to that, most importantly, we want to set up for maximum success this year in 2025 and beyond. So if that's good with you, give us a yes in the comments. If that sounds like this should be a good use of your time and your energy, this is what you came here for, to build this plan, to reverse engineer the strategy, and to make sure you're on the cutting edge of what's working. So just type yes in the comments if you're good with that. All right, we see some yeses coming in. Awesome. Thank you for that.
All right. So,
Want to go ahead, Paul? Yeah.
workbook. We got this great workbook that we put together to help drive this process. So in this workbook that we're going to be doing some exercises right inside there, and there's also going to be some worksheets. One worksheet that we're going to go through. We want you to fill that out. And that's going to help drive the entire process of kind of determining what your goal is and breaking it all down, like the reverse engineering part that we were talking about. And we don't need to get into that just yet, but for now, it's at asphaltmarketers.com/2025-plan. So I don't know if Rosemary, can you drop that into the chat? The link to the workbook. Okay, so Rosemary just dropped it in the chat. So for any of you that are able to open that up, if you're on your desktop or laptop and it's easy for you to open it up, it'd probably be harder on the phone. But again, if it's hard for you guys on the phone, don't worry about it. We're gonna give you guys a replay later tomorrow, and then you guys can come back to it and put your head down and get it done. Okay, and then we also we sent these links to you guys earlier today, but Rosemary dropped them into the chat as we go here, so if it make it easier for you guys to open that up. We'll show you how to open it up right now. I'm just gonna share my our screen here. actually, before we do that, guys, I just want to, let me just go ahead here real quick. So a little bit about us. Now, for those of you who don't know us that are on here, I'm Paolo,
And I'm Greg.
and we're also known as the Gulo Brothers. It's probably because we're always together at industry events and have been in business together for like decades. People have been referring to us as the Gulo Brothers like for the longest time. So if you know us, you already know that. We're the founders of Asphalt Marketers. We're a digital marketing agency that's dedicated to serving asphalt paving and maintenance contractors throughout North America. And we're also authors of the book Asphalt Digital Dominance. It's currently in the publishing stage. Like we're getting our copies delivered to us in a couple of weeks or so. So for all of you guys that are on here, we're sending you guys a free copy. We're going to send it to us, our gift to you guys. So once that comes in, we already know who you are. We already have your information. We'll send it to you. So look out for that maybe in the next few weeks or so. And this is literally the ultimate digital marketing playbook for asphalt contractors. Like we poured our passion into this book, where we give actionable insights, real world examples, step-by-step plan throughout, right? Greg, anything you want to add to that?
No, so basically it's the only book of its kind. And what we did was we married everything to do with digital marketing in line with asphalt contractors and how you can apply these strategies and tactics to your business. So we're really excited about that. We may have mentioned it to some of you, but once it comes in, we'll have that shipped over to you, and we think you'll get a lot of insights from it. More to us, again, for those of you who don't know us, most of you on here do, but we're actively involved in many industry events like PaveX, which we just exhibited at. We're also going to be exhibiting in World of Asphalt end of March, which is going to be in St. Louis, Missouri, and Con Expo as well next year. So if you plan on being at the show, World of Asphalt, come and say hello, come and hang out with us, come to our booth, just make sure we see each other there. We're also part of several marketing masterminds and agency intensives. We get together with top agencies from around the world 3 times per year, every 4 months. And what we do there is we're always brainstorming and strategizing and learning the next latest and greatest we can bring to the table. So we're always innovating and making sure our clients have the best strategies to implement and apply to their businesses. And our next meetup is actually in Miami, which is all of next week. We'll be there. So we always like to stay on the cutting edge so that we can bring whatever we learn back to our asphalt contractor clients and share that with the community so you guys can better your businesses.
Okay, so guys, but more important than any of this stuff, at this point, we've had the opportunity to work with numerous asphalt businesses in the US and Canada. And we've been able to help see a lot of them go from obscurity online to a point where they're now one of the dominant players in their market. And many of them growing by millions of dollars in annualized revenue over the years. We've been working together, that we've been working together with them, right? And then several of them who have been with us for over a decade. So what we're why we're sharing this and what we're sharing is that today isn't based on theory. It's not from like a blog post we read somewhere. It's based on real world experiences, like being in the trenches, working with asphalt companies just like you. There's a few of you guys on here who have already been working with us for several years, and
some for almost a decade.
Yeah.
Or probably more than a decade.
Probably more than a decade. And if you can take stock in the strategy, if you can take like stock in this plan and feel really confident that you'll be building an amazing foundation for success in 2025.
Okay, so back to today's session. What we're going to do is give you guys the ideas, give you the insights, but as we mentioned, we are a full-service digital marketing agency with over 15 full-time employees. We have an office in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which manages the US. We also have an office in Toronto, Ontario, which takes care of the Canadian asphalt contractors. So if you guys need some help with your marketing strategy as you build out this plan and you think, you know what, I'd like to have the Gulo brothers and their team at Asphalt Marketers show me what it would look like to have them implement this for you. And what kind of work we do instead of just giving you guys the ideas, that's obviously available to you as well. So we'd love the opportunity to do a one-on-one review of your current online marketing strategy, show you exactly how we can help, and talk numbers if that's something you guys are interested in. Okay.
Yeah, you know what, on that, like, so if that's something that you guys are like, hey, I'd like to potentially hire you guys for these services, you can just schedule a time with us. You can go to asphaltmarketers.com/schedule. And Rosemary, if you can paste that into the chat as well. Our mission, guys, is pretty simple, right? Our mission is to help 500 asphalt contractors scale their business, dominate their local market, and secure their legacy. If you want like that one-on-one, it's available to you. It's no pressure. We just want to put that out there as an opportunity if that's like where you're at, and you know, you're looking for help to implement these ideas that we're going to talk about today for your 2025 year and beyond. All right. Let me just see.
Did we get that in there?
Okay, Rosemary just dropped the link right in there for you guys. So it's there.
All right. We good?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get the planning process for 2025 started. We want to start with some of the trends and some of the key things we see happening in the digital marketing space that you guys need to be aware of. And so as you kind of start formulating the strategy, as you start to formulate your plan for this year, number one, there's growing popularity in AI. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard about AI, artificial intelligence, such things as ChatGPT, other ones named Claude, Gemini, Perplexity. So all of these different platforms are out there and available. And I know that everyone's starting to hear about AI. So type in AI in the chat if you're using AI at some level in your business. Maybe it's the way you're writing social posts, or maybe the way you're creating hiring documents when you're hiring people, or maybe you're started using AI to help you write more professional emails to your prospects, your client base. So if you can type in AI in the chat, if you've used it at any level in your business so far. We got Carmen.
Carmen, every day using it right now. Awesome.
That's awesome. So, you know, some of you use AI as note takers on these meetings.
And AI can be a scary thing. So some people sound scary, but it's not. And don't worry about it. Like we'll get into it more.
So yeah, so this is a big trend, AI. We think it's going to be super applicable in the asphalt industry, not necessarily in the field of doing the work just yet. Maybe you'll see the equipment suppliers integrate AI at some level, but for now, it can be used on how you market yourself, in terms of how you book your jobs, in terms of how you portray your company's messaging, the tone and the style of your brand. So this is something that's going to be huge that we need to stay on top of. And the other things happening right now in terms of AI from a marketing perspective, to this point over the last decade, the number one place that customers look when they need your services is what? Like, what do you guys think is the number one place people look for your services? If you can let us know in the chat what you think that is. What comes to mind off the top of your head when someone's searching for asphalt contractors? Or
and we know a lot of you guys know this, right? Let's see, what do we got here? We got all right, Evan, Google. Mike May, Google. That's right, number one place, guys, typically Google, and I know a lot of you guys know it. They're going to Google, right? And they're typing in asphalt paving contractor, parking lot paving, asphalt repair services, paving company near me, right? Or paving company in your city or town, right? Of where your service area is. That's where they've gone. That's where they've been going. And but with more and more people liking the feedback they're getting from places like ChatGPT and other platforms like that, there's been a little bit of a shift towards Bing, because Bing has ChatGPT search results baked right into it. So we can also want to be making sure that we're thinking about Bing with our marketing, right? And potentially even down like the track from there, people using ChatGPT directly just to look for to do their search results. Like if you go into ChatGPT and you type in paving contractor near me or asphalt paving services in whatever city or town on ChatGPT, it's going to give you some results, but they're not very good. It's not very relevant, not as relevant as they should be. They're not there yet for the local search.
It's not where it needs to be.
Yeah, it's not where it needs to be yet,
For local
but
search.
it'll get there over time, probably by next year for sure.
So, and if it does, it could be another opportunity for search marketing, and maybe we could see AI like ChatGPT maybe putting ads on there one day, and an opportunity for marketing.
Yeah, and 100% what Greg's saying, because even the way like Bing is baked it into their search, that's because they're taking some of the knowledge that the AI is getting from the AI platforms itself and integrating into the results that you get, right?
I just want to speak to Bing for 1 second. So I've some of you that I've spoken to, I've mentioned that Google is king in terms of search marketing, ads, organic, maps, and all that. But Bing is a player that we can't ignore. We do generate a lot of good leads on the Bing search engine for our clients. And I always say it's because, you know, a lot of people get these Microsoft computers or HP that the search browser is Edge and the search engine is Bing, right?
It's
So
Bing, yeah.
they don't change it to Google Chrome. So when they're searching in asphalt contractor near me or parking lot paving or asphalt overlays, we want to make sure that you have some presence on the Bing search engine as well, and not ignore that, aside from the AI discussion.
Another trend number two. Trend number two, online scheduling. So this isn't even a new trend, but it's like essentially in 2025, it's something that you should think about. Like, how do you remove that obstacle for your customers to be able to schedule in with you? For example, schedule a site inspection. It used to be like, we're looking over the last, let's say 3 to 5 years. Somebody gets to your website. What's like the number one way they want to convert? Over the past 3 to 5 years, maybe they're like, the one thing is optimizing your marketing all like around it. Like, what would you say that number one thing is that you feel like the last 3 to 5 years is that one thing that will help convert or has helped convert your prospects or visitors to your website? If you could take a second and type that into the chat.
Okay, Evan says forms. So form submissions.
Yeah, so forms, but also the phone, picking up the phone, calling, right? So those are like the only things. It's either they're going to inquire, pick up the phone, or fill out that form, right? And the form is like usually a short form. They put their name, their email, their phone number, and maybe a little description of what they're looking for, right? Now, like, we want them to get to the website. We want them to click the call now button or pick up the phone and dial. All of our marketing over the last 3 to 5 years has been around the phone call and the form, of course, right? The quote request form. But there's a new trend, and there's a complete shift happening, like we've been seeing over the last several months. It's already happened, but it's really important that you're aware of it and doing something about it, especially in 2025 and beyond. Like, is your customer, if they got the opportunity to start, let's say, a two-way text with you to schedule their site inspection, or maybe like if they got the ability to book a date and time directly on your website that's synced with your calendar, right? So they don't have to talk to your receptionist or that they have to figure out your schedule and then try to coordinate it all and everything. It just automatically integrates with your calendar or whoever is in charge of doing these site inspections, right? So like, you know, if you have those times allocated to site inspections, if it's available on your calendar, then your prospect can book that right in on your website, and you don't have to worry about getting double booked because it's synced with your main calendar that you're using every day, right?
I just want to say something to that. I think it's pretty neat that we've come this far in terms of trends, that now we're talking to asphalt paving or asphalt maintenance contractors, and we're saying allow people to be able to schedule an appointment right from your website. Kind of like the way a restaurant, you could book a reservation on their website and you don't even want to call anymore. You just want to go to their website and book a reservation. Now we're at the point where those habits, and Paulo will get into that more coming up, people are starting to want that with everybody they deal with, not just restaurants or nail salons or getting their hair cut. It's even going down to contractors, whether it be asphalt or other industries as well. So this is something that's a new trend in terms of having that available, that someone can schedule an estimate on your website.
Yeah, and just like Greg said, they're taking that option. This is a complete transition from people wanting to like call to wanting to text, right? Like call from the phone call to the text. They'd rather text. And you know, like think about it. Whenever you need, let's say, a ride somewhere, every now and then, you know, you go to Uber or Lyft, right? You know, like you guys know that. And if you're using, let's say, something like Uber or Instacart to pick up your groceries, right? Like that's where people are going. They just want things, just quickly type in a few things and press a button and things will happen for them. That's how everything's shifting.
And back in the day, you would, you know, if we're talking about getting a ride, you'd call a taxi. You'd call the company, they'd send a taxi. Now everyone's got these habits that you just go on the app and order your Uber or your Lyft, as Paulo mentioned, and even down to grocery shopping. So,
and it'll notify you when it's going to get there, how far it is, all that type of stuff, right? Same with a book. If they can schedule something, they're going to be notified, you know, a reminder when it's happening, a text. Kind of like, you know, you guys registered for this workshop today. You guys got the emails, you got the text messages, the reminders, right? To make sure you show up. Like that's the idea, right? And like, you know, something happened with that shift in the way people get things, right? They want. It used to be like, hey, like Greg said, I want food to show up. I want a hamburger and fries, right? Like that's, you know, that's, they're going to Uber doing that. And then they push a button on Uber and then fries and a hamburger shows up at the doorstep, right? Same with Amazon. Whatever people want with a couple of clicks, it's at their door the next day. And they're expecting that with every aspect of their life, right? This has been the major shift. So if you're not giving them the options to pick a time, a date to schedule their site inspection, you're just creating more friction, right? Can you do it the way you've been doing it? Sure, you can still continue going that route, right? But you know, the path of least resistance is what's going to help you guys convert the most, right?
And I haven't seen many paving contractors or asphalt maintenance contractors who have that option yet. But the purpose of this meeting today is to give you guys the latest trends. So maybe be ahead of the curve with these types of things. And even if they don't seem like the biggest thing right now, each thing that you implement can help with converting more leads, more jobs, and more sales.
Yeah, and you want to push them through to the you don't want to push them to the competition. You want to push them through to the completing whatever it is on your website that you want them to do, but also get to the point where they're getting the answers they need, because people hate waiting. They don't want to wait like hours for someone to get back to them, or a day or whatever it is, right? Otherwise, they're just going to go hit the back button, go back, and then see what other options they have, right? That's readily available to them. People have a very short attention span today, especially online, and when they search for solutions online, they want it now. So this is something that we want to be paying really close attention to, like this year and going into next year as well.
All right, so number 3, you'll see us moving out of the way here just so you can see it on our screen from time to time, but number 3 is two-way text messaging. So again, this is very similar to online booking. If they got the opportunity to text you versus having to call into the office and having a conversation, your customers 6 out of 10 times are going to choose a text message. I don't know what it is these days, but I think we're all getting these habits of like, I don't want to call somewhere. I'd rather just text, or I'd rather just fill out a form, going back to the other thing, to the scheduling online option. So you're going to want to make sure that you have a platform in place so that people can schedule online, and that they can have a two-way text message where they can ask a couple of questions and get some answers and get their problem solved and scheduled. So I know some of you have your receptionist, but having this two-way text can help a lot quicker. Another thing is that we'll probably bring up coming up is speed to lead. Having two-way text, they get a text message right away. You're already in a conversation with them. Like they're not even, by the time they even go to your competitor, if they even go there, you're already in conversation. So having a text us now button on your website that literally starts a two-way text message is a huge trend, and it reduces friction, and it's going to improve your conversation rates, making your cost per lead and your marketing efficiency a lot better in 2025 and beyond. So that's trend number 3.
Number 4, and we believe this is like a new trend, something that is available now and you should be focused on, is AI lead follow-up. So we all know that speed to lead is the name of the game, right? And someone, let's say someone calls into the office, or they send in that form requesting information like we've just been talking about. The speed at which they can get the site inspection scheduled is the answer, right? Is it like it used to be like if you want someone to, let's say, I don't know, someone standing by to take the call, like if you have people in your office, like some of you have, you know, someone who takes the calls, right? And they'll answer the phone right away. But then the thing is, we see is like even that person still can't give them what they need, and they gotta, you know, kind of coordinate someone else to call them back in order to be able to talk to them to find out what their needs are, and then they gotta book that site inspection and then go to the site inspection and then do all. So there's all these different layers that's kind of creating more and more friction. What we're trying to do is trying to eliminate as much of that as possible, automate as much as possible, so that they're getting what they need, or they're satisfied enough so that they don't click back and go look at their other options. You want them to stay in your funnel, right?
I just want to say something that might be going through some of your head. Like when you have an online scheduling button, I know the way some of you run your days in terms of like, you'll do a certain site inspections. Maybe when you're in that area, you'll cluster a few of them, as opposed to allowing people to just send you every which way in your geographic area. But maybe if you can put maybe one layer in, like they have availability on certain days and don't space them out too far apart, that they could have a quick phone call with you. So that would, like, on your calendar, your availability is not so much maybe to go to their house or to their commercial property. It's let's have a quick call, and then you can come up with a date to go see it together. But at least like that, they get a quick call from you, right? You being the estimator, the owner, whatever your position is in the company. What do you think of that, Paul?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's what Greg's saying is a good layer to add in there. If the type of person that you can't commit to a schedule, so just take those quick calls.
Have your calendar have available calls, like maybe every half hour on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, because you know that Tuesdays and Thursdays you're out in the field or whatever you're doing, you can't take them those days. But I think that adding that layer will get you closer to this goal, and not having to allow people to book something that geographically doesn't make sense. Like one lead comes in from this side of town and the other lead comes in from the other side, and you're leaving it to their mercy to book it for you when it doesn't really work for you. So maybe having that layer of a call first can help with your scheduling.
Yeah, and then, like, you know, if someone gets the form that they fill out on the website and follow up within 5 minutes or less, we rarely see people doing that, right? And with the technology that exists now with the AI, we can make sure that every call gets answered in like 30 seconds or less, that every request gets followed up within 30 seconds or less, and like that we're following up diligently and via email, via text message, via different platforms, like through automation, right? So without having to have people standing by manually following up, you know, and even with the manual stuff or standing by, things fall through the cracks. We see it all the time. Like, you know, a call comes in, so-and-so is going to call you back, so-and-so doesn't get to it, they get a busy day, now that customer is waiting for 2 days, nothing's happening.
Well,
at least the AI, the automation can keep them engaged with your company, right? So they don't go nowhere.
Yes, and that lag time of them speaking to your receptionist, to an estimator calling them back, they could already be in one of your competitors' funnel and process, because they called the next company and they're already all over them. So
and it goes, like, just to get in there, like, it goes beyond the initial request. Like when you receive a cold prospect, let's say, right, there's a process to warm them up, to book the site inspection, to create a proposal, close the deal. There's all those different steps of the sales process, right? And all the follow-ups required throughout these stages. Like you got to follow up to get, if someone fills out a form or calls in and they give their information. Now, when you call them back, if they don't answer right away, you got to call them back. You got to follow up. You got to get them back on the phone. You got to find out what they need and try to get that site inspection. And then from there, you got to get them to look at the proposal. And then from there, you got to follow up to try to close them, right? So AI can help with a lot of this type of stuff. So I'm just looking at my notes here just to make sure, because I don't want to miss nothing, because this is a really big one. And so the other really important thing, the other really important component that we have here is when someone starts a chat on your website. Now, a lot of people don't have the chat widget yet, but the chat can also work with like a two-way text. So they'll think they're chatting and just kind of initiate that two-way text so that you already have that conversation going with them. Or it could be set up with AI to like auto respond to them with intelligence, right? Based on their questions, and then kind of guide them to booking a site inspection or giving more of their information, right? So typically it's going to be like someone on your team or a third-party service that's standing by replying, hey, how can we help you? What questions do you have? But the AI can eliminate a lot of that so that you don't have to like have a person standing by. It's pretty smart. It can understand the context of what someone's typing in and how to respond based on how you train it too in the beginning stages. It can actually have like direct access to your scheduling system, right? If you have a scheduling system, a calendar, all that type of stuff, it can have direct access to the questions that come up most frequently in your booking process. And like AI can start like the process from the question that they have to scheduling a site inspection. And it could also do that in text, like I said, through a chat.
All right, we good here. So there's another technology that's more advanced where we can have AI voice that can answer the call and have a two-way conversation. So these are all new things that are evolving and we're learning about, and we're looking at how we can help implement it. But it's pretty neat. I've heard some examples of it, and it's pretty sleek how some AI agent answers the phone, and it sounds very little robotic.
Very little robotic, but it's enough to get the information you need, schedule them in, all that type of stuff. And it's very new. It's probably like not even a few months or so since it's really taking off, right? But we can see it by probably the end of this year being something that we all need to look at, especially for 2026.
Another area, sorry, Apollo, I'll just say another area that these AI voice answering services can help is after hours. So rather than your inbound calls receiving a voicemail after hours that you're losing these people, that's costing you money. If you put an AI voice that can answer that call, that can have like an intelligent conversation, that can actually soft schedule that person, they're going to be very happy.
Yeah, that's a great point, because you can take calls and leads at all hours, right? Even when you're off, which is amazing.
And have that professionalism too.
Yeah,
Right?
be professional, yeah. And that's where the world's going. It's not like someone's going to pick up the phone and say, oh, what's this? It's an AI or whatever. They'll follow the prompts, right? When you call any big corporation, you call a bank, you call, I don't know, anyone, what do you got to go through? How many hoops you got to go through? But this is not like that. It's like they're actually talking to a human.
It's more fluid.
They don't have to press 1 and 2 and 3 and all that type of stuff. They just have to talk, right? So if people are used to like pressing 1, press 2 for this, press 3, waiting on hold, all these different things.
This is better.
This is way better, right?
And so anyways, some of these trends that we're talking about, it's not something you have to run and do tomorrow, but it's good to have the knowledge of it and say, hey, maybe that's this year's plan or next year's plan. As these technologies evolve, it's something I have in the back of my head and I want to implement in my business. So trend number 5 for 2025 is authentic video. So we talked a lot about AI and it's super important trend that you want to be paying attention to in 2025, but it also means that the content we put on our website or on our blog or on our social profile, AI is more involved in the creation of that content. So the cost to produce that content is lower than ever, and it's going to become more flooded, right? So everybody has it available. So now they're putting a lot of content on their website. And the one thing that's going to be distinctive that you can create to make your asphalt company stand out is authentic video.
Yeah, definitely. Like Greg's saying, because of the AIs, like content is going to be easier to generate to put on your website. But if everyone's competing and everyone's adding content, now how do you stand apart from the rest? And that's why he's saying video, right?
Yeah. So if you're doing video like if you're not doing video today, or you're doing very minimal, now's your time to get more involved in video creation. And you can say something like, hey, I'm going to start creating videos about our services on each hour of the day, or on every other service pages. Kind of come up with some plan to do with that. Okay. Right now, you're seeing a lot of these sleek videos on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok that look really cool about the job sites, like an overall sleek video. But having an authentic video can be more of you guys speaking directly to the audience and kind of walking them through a parking lot, showing the issues with the parking lot, showing your inspection of, you're seeing the alligator cracks, or you're seeing where there needs to have asphalt repairs, or whether it needs to be repaved or seal coated, or just it just needs to be striped. I know you guys all know how to do pavement assessments, so maybe walking them through that, having that authenticity in your social media can bring you to the next level, as well as having some sort of explanation on your service pages of your website. So if you have a page on your website about parking lot paving, speak to them directly. Not just a fancy video with drones; those are amazing. But I think that if we don't all have to become like professional actors or all that. We're all getting better at this video as we go. But put your first one out, get a tripod, get going with that. And as you do more and more, you'll get more confident with it, and you'll really stand out from the competition.
So those are like the 5 trends, guys. Now, let me just click this through here. All right. So we're going to get a little into the planning process right now. And we just want to walk you guys through some of the things that we're seeing, some of the things we're seeing on the horizon for like 2025. And with step number 1, the very first thing that we want to make sure like you set clear goals and targets on. We want you to make sure that you're clear on getting really focused on what that goal is. And it's not just like the like what's the number, like what the number is for you, which is a big part. Like you want to grow your business. What is that number for you, right? What is that next level going to be for you in 2025? Like we believe that clear goals that are written down, that are like articulated, create momentum. They create like a movement, right? And if you think about, let's say, like the sailboat that we have here on the screen, right? It doesn't have like any wind. It doesn't have any momentum. There's nothing pushing it forward, right? And it's going to go wherever it goes, like wherever the wind, wherever like it winds up, wherever the sea takes it, right? Versus when there's wind, right? When there's, you right? We have these slides just to kind of like really
Drive it
home with you guys. But versus where there's wind blowing in the sail, we can create momentum. We can steer to the destination we want, right? And then we think when you've got the clear goals for the year, like here's the target broken down by quarter, broken down by month, then you can create that wind. You can create that momentum. Like anytime we deal with like asphalt companies that are stagnated, right? We're hey, like we got to $1 million, or we got to 6 million or 20 million, but we're just not moving forward like much further, or we're not getting to that next level that we really want, right? It doesn't matter what size they got to. When they get stagnant and struggle to achieve that next level, we got to get clarity on those goals and those targets, and like reverse engineer it all, right?
All right, so we're going to ask you guys all to just open up the workbook. So if you have that open on your screen, that'd be great. We're going to share our screen so you all know where it is and how to access it. If you could click on the link that was provided in the chat, that'll also be good.
Rosemary, can you drop that link in there as well? The workbook link for everybody to be able to open it. And I'm going to just share the screen here just so that we can show you what to do once you open it up. Can you guys see my screen? Copy document? Just put a hand up in the air or anything. So just click on that, make a copy. It's gonna open this up. And then you'll be able to trek along with us here. Let me just open that. All right, let me just zoom out a bit. So you guys can see that. This is the cover of the workbook. All right, so if you guys got it open, hopefully you guys all got it open. Let's just go along here. All right, so you guys all have each your own version. So once you open it up, it's going to be your own. So whatever you put in it, no one else can see it. It's saved to you. Anyways, we're going to use this to drive the process. So let me just change the slide here. Okay, so if you guys go down to, let's see, you guys still see the workbook, right? On my screen? Let's go down to page, I believe it's page 3. Right here, current snapshot. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second here, but go to current snapshot, just so you guys can see our slides here. And we'll walk you guys through this. This is part of the workshop, the hands-on, to help you guys really think about this. So as we start to think about like 2025, the 2025 plan, a couple of things we want to think about. Number one is, where are we today, right? What was our revenue last year? Let's see, 2024, that's pretty much where we are, right? What I want you guys to do is type in like the top one here, right? Like on your workbook for the top one, current annual revenue. So you know what you closed 2024 at. So just type that into your worksheet at the top, the first one. And then I want you to, and that's 2024, just to be clear, last year, whole year, because we completed the year. And then what was that final number? And then what does that break down to per month? So just for number sakes, if it's 3 million, it works out to 250,000 a month. If it's 10 million, it's $833,333 a month.
Yeah,
Like that's the idea.
And we know some of you don't work 12 months of the year, some of you work 9 months or 7 months, but
just let's take an average of the 12 months, right? For this exercise. And then how many jobs did that equate to per month? So some of you might be very clear on that number because you'd like to have all that data. Some of you might not even have a clue, but maybe you can kind of determine how many jobs that equates to per month. And then what was the average project value? So like type that into to this key metric, the other key metrics where it says average project value on your workbooks. Just put what that was. If it was it 20,000, 10,000, 100,000? What was that average project value that you feel came in? And then the last one is average conversion. So average conversion is basically what's your closing rate. So out of every cold lead, let's say out of 10 cold leads, just for right now, you get 10 cold leads, people that don't know you. They were not referrals, they're not repeat business. 10 cold leads, how many of those can you close based on your experience, based on just 2024, how 2024 went? Is it 3 out of 10, 5 out of 10, right? 30%, 40%, 50%. So just put the percentage of what you think that is in your workbooks. And we'll just give you guys some time to do that.
go to the comments, apologize.
if anyone's done, maybe give us a number 1 in the comments. Awesome, Vince, Alex. And don't worry, guys, it's not a race to the finish for this. Like, you know, if you need some more time to think about it, that's fine. Like,
That's done. Okay.
you'll be able to do it. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we hope you guys got that in. Now let's look at 2025. So if we can project to the end of 2025, so imagine, like I mentioned earlier, you created that video, it's the end of 2025, everything went according to plan, it was an amazing year. Where does the business end? How much revenue are you shooting for in 2025 overall? Where do you want to be by the end of the year? Put that in there so you're super clear on what you're shooting for. And if you don't mind, type it in the chat. Like, what's that number for you? Okay. Where do you want to end this year with in terms of revenue? If you want to share that in the chat, please go ahead. Okay.
All right, guys. So just to make sure that you got your number written down, what's the annual target for 2025? At least have that down in your books. Of course, some of you probably have a goal like set in mind from before, but what we're gonna do in the next, like here, like get into in this building of the plan, right? What we want is for you guys to just be super clear. That's the whole point. Like when you guys leave this session today, I want you to be clear on what that goal is, how it breaks down, and what you need to do to get there this year, because that's the only way you can make it happen is by knowing what you need to do, how it breaks down, and how to get to it. And that's why we're reverse engineering, right?
I just want to touch on this part.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the last thing we want to do, by now you've written down that number and you're thinking about 2025. So before we get into breaking this down, we want to talk about the why. So why is this important for you? How will you feel different? How will life be better if you achieve this goal that you just wrote down? So if you can put that in your workbook, this is more of a thought exercise, right? We can always talk about numbers, but we got to find the why in terms of what it is for you. So like we say, numbers are obscure. So, hey, I'm going to hit 5 million to 10 million this year. It's just a number. There's no emotional connection to it. But if you can connect the why, and some examples, or maybe it's so you can retire your spouse. Maybe it's so you can pay your team more. Or so maybe it's so you can buy that house or that dream car. Or maybe you want to take a vacation that you've been after, or more vacations than you've been doing. Maybe you want to put the kids in a better school, right? These are all ideas of why you do what you do on a daily basis. And maybe you can increase, or maybe you want to just increase your net worth by a certain amount. Or it could be to pay off a business loan. We all have something that drives us. So that makes it important to us in terms of getting more clear on your why and accomplishing that goal. That's what makes it more important. And so the more likely you are to work towards achieving it if you know the why. And it's funny that we're talking about this because I have a son who's 2.5 years old and he's in this why phase right now. So every day he says, "Daddy, where are you going?" "I'm going to work." "Why?" So he stumps me. I'm like, "Why?" "Well, because I exchange my time and my knowledge for dollars, which helps me provide to my family." But it's funny because it's like you just go every day to work, you just go. But when you really think of your why and take a moment to think about it, it's pretty cool to see it through a child's eyes, and we should continue to do that going forward in our adulthood and professionalism. So we have some comments coming through here in terms of goals for the year. So Vince mentioned that he wants to match last year or better. We hear that a lot from contractors, right? They don't want to lose revenue. Every year, we know it's a new playing field for you guys, right? You have that repeat business, but there's always that scarcity in, are we going to get the same work from last year? How much harder are we going to have to work just to match what we did, let alone grow? We just got to make sure that we secure what we did already. And then growth is another conversation. So definitely you want to reach what you did last year. Scott Brown, 4.5 million, which is fantastic. And
That's a great goal.
we've spoken before. I'm pretty confident you guys will get there with your growth goals. And Vince mentions continued business success and balance. So yeah, there's the working hard every day and everything we do on a daily basis, but having that balance with family is also a why we do what we do, and just make sure that we don't neglect that as we're grinding away here. You guys are in one of the toughest industries in the world, and kudos to you for what you do on a daily basis.
And some of you guys might be trying to get to your first million or your second million. That initial set of money, you might say, like what Greg was saying earlier, right? Like what you want is different when you're at that point. But when you're at a certain level, at the 5, 6, 8, 10, 20 or more,
30 million,
whatever, what your why is, like Greg's saying, is totally different.
It can change.
It changes, right? Because you have everything that you wanted when you were at that smaller size, right? That you were able to achieve, right?
but there's always going to be a why to what drives you, right? Maybe you want to grow the business to sell it. Maybe that's your why. You want to grow it so that the numbers look good, and you want to sell it in 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years for your retirement, whatever.
Okay, so I think we all got that goal. We know like where we want to get to by the end of the year. I want to ask you all to open up. If you guys scroll down to key targets in your workbook, there's a link there. I'll pop it up. It looks like this. There's a screenshot like this in your workbooks. So if you just go there, there's a link there. You can click on it. Rosemary, if you can add the worksheet link in the chat for everybody, just to make it easier. If yeah, just open that up. And I'm just going to share our screen again as well.
And while Paul's looking for that, I apologize if we're blocking the screen. We got a little bit of tight quarters here. So if we're blocking something that you want to see, just tell us in the comments, and we'll be sure to move out of the way. But you'll have a lot of this on your end as well.
So do the same thing. If you're gonna click the make a copy. It's gonna pop open the link, and you should see this on your first tab. That's what we're gonna look at right now. And we'll just wait a couple seconds for you guys to all get it open. And while you guys are opening it, like we got that target you guys are shooting for, and this sheet's gonna help us reverse engineer some of that. So we know like what it's going to take to reach that goal, right? Once you have this open, again, just go to the first tab. The tab says lead generation target planner at the bottom there. All right, so I'm gonna just share the screen again because I want you guys to see it on our end as we go along with it. Can you guys, if someone could give a thumbs up, if you can see my screen, if you see this worksheet on our, all right, so the green cells is what we're gonna fill out right now. Scott, you put your goal of 4.5 million for 2025. Can we use you as our guinea pig for this exercise here? You can just unmute yourself.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so your goal is to get to 4.5 million this year. So we're going to put that in here right now. And this automatically, gives us the monthly revenue target of 375,000, right? What would you say your average project value is? You have the lows that you probably get, and then you have the really, really highs. But what do you see on a regular basis on an everyday that you think is that average sweet spot? Like, or you might know, you might have taken
I would think like $15,000.
15,000. Okay. So 15,000. So what that tells us is on $4.5 million in annual revenue divided by 300 or divided by 12 months, it gives us 375,000 per month in revenue. If your average project value is 15,000, you need 25 closed jobs per month to achieve that, right?
And
Yes.
for those of you that don't work in the Q1 and all that, and you don't have that income coming in, just adjust it in your mind or afterwards of how that looks like. I do know that in when it's paving season or maintenance season, your numbers spike per month. So you know that conversation. We just can't.
Same with me, obviously. I do. I'm in New York, so like Greg said, we only work paving. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get 10 months. We know, maybe not.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So your 4.5 million divided by 10 months at 450,000 a month, divided by 15,000. That's like you're working. That's where you're working towards in the what month you're working, right? Or the months you're trying to generate leads. Because sometimes you start the marketing prior to the season starting so that you can already have work lined up, right?
Yeah.
Whereas someone like Alex Coring on this call, he's in California. Alex, you probably work 11 months out of the year. Are we going to say 12? He's muted right now, but.
Okay, so step number 2.
Yeah. So can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Alex. Go.
Yeah. We work every single day we can. Like right now we're a little slow. We got I think 4 or 5 guys in the field today. We have 8 people on staff. So we're running like at half capacity right now. We have for the last couple of weeks, but like literally if it's not raining, we're working every day.
Yeah. And you can go 12 months out of the year, correct?
Yeah.
Maybe you get some downtime around the Christmas holidays, maybe like rain days and stuff like that. But
yeah, like the asphalt plants just shut down for 2 weeks for winter maintenance. So we had a bunch of projects that we couldn't go out and do that we had on the books, but we went out and did concrete work instead.
nice. So, yeah. I know even in the warmer climates, like where you guys are, there's still obstacles that might, throw away a month of the year that you can't be out there.
Yeah.
All right.
So Scott, what would you say your conversion rate is if you were able to put that in your workbook? What do you say your closing rate is on the leads you get? Like out of 10, is it 3 out of 10? Is it 4 out of 10? Is it less? Is it more?
Maybe 4.
4? So 40%. All right. So what this tells us is your revenue goal is 4.5 million. Your monthly revenue, if you break it down by 12-month average, right, is you need 25 jobs at an average of $15,000 to hit that goal. If your closing rate's 40%, that means you need 63 leads per month to close 40%, which would be 25. 25 at 15K gives you 375,000 at 12 months, 4.5 million.
And that's to hit the whole goal of 4.5. Like that's 0 to 4.5, where they already have X amount of revenue that's coming in year after year from repeat business and all that. But then, as we mentioned earlier, it's not always secure. You don't know if one year is going to be better than the rest, than the previous years. So you always got to be driving this marketing home for sure. So you don't have inconsistencies in lead flow in your year.
Now, the question comes up a lot, like what's the cost per lead? It varies. It varies by market, services, maybe like how well you show online, how much authority you already have or don't have. Like there's so many variables.
How well converting your
right?
website is.
But what we normally see,
sorry, Paul, how well converting your website is can affect your conversion rate. Your online reviews and your reputation can affect your conversion rate. Your price can affect your conversion rate, but
yeah, and that either drives up or drives down. The more optimized we can get, the lower the cost per lead. The less optimized, the higher. But what we usually see is like on the residential side, anywhere from $50 to $80 a lead, and on the commercial side, anywhere from 100 to 200, depending on how intricate or what type of market you're in or the area you're servicing, right? Because there's also that very competitive markets, like in major metropolitan areas, or your more rural areas and less competitive. But just for a number, we're just going to put a random number. This is not set in stone, doesn't mean anything, but just to give an idea, right? So I'm going on the high here. I'm going the average of a commercial. So forget the residential. We're going to go on the high, $150 lead. So to get 63 leads, this is telling us we need to spend $9,375 to get 63 leads. That works out to a 2.5% marketing budget. And we'll get into all this. We'll go deeper into this, and
2.5% of your annual revenue. Now, if you change that to 100, what would happen there, Paulo? So now if your cost per lead is 100, your investment would be $6,250 per month to hit that target, which would be 1.7% marketing budget of your annual revenue. Okay.
All right. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a second here, because we're going to just dig into this a bit more.
Does that make sense for everybody so far? Is that clear?
Yes.
Cool.
Just want to make sure I don't miss nothing in our notes here.
Sorry guys.
Yeah.
So the worksheet, right? Like I'm on the workbook, but then I was on the phone, sorry, and I missed how to open up this worksheet where it says click here to open worksheet. That's not working for me. And like actually type in your own numbers into it.
You got to go in the chat. There's a link in the chat.
Rosemary, can you drop that link one more time in the chat just to make it easier?
Oh, like I have the work. Are you talking about the workbook chat?
No, the worksheet now.
The worksheet chat. Oh, okay.
You can click to it from
Oh,
the
yeah.
workbook,
Yeah,
but
that's
Rosemary
okay.
just put the link again. Just click on that, and then once it opens, just click make a copy. Okay.
Copy. Okay, thanks.
Okay, a couple of you, some had to leave. They said this is very valuable. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's continue here.
Yeah, we'll be Mike. If you're still here, Mike May, we'll send you a replay anyway, so don't worry about it. Now, guys, what are different things you can do to get, more results from those numbers we just broke down? Like you can try to increase your project value. Like Greg said, you can do things to your website to have better conversions. Like right now, if let's say 100 people land on your website and 10 convert, right? You get 10 leads from what you're already doing. A few tweaks on your website, you might be able to get that 10 up to 20. That just drives your cost per lead down completely, right? So there's a lot, that's why there's many variables. So there's no like set in stone number of cost per lead, but this helps guide us so that we make sure we make the right decisions, right? Informed decisions as we go along with our growth planning. I'm just skipping along here just because I want to make sure some things I'm just going to omit as we've already mentioned some stuff here. Okay, anyways, we're gonna go more into the reverse engineering of all this and kind of how like we allocate the budget to bring that into reality. Because here's the thing, you can break it down, determine what the budget or the RO, like what type of ROI you need, how many leads you need, right? How many jobs you need to get that goal. But we're gonna kind of break it all down on now how to allocate that budget into what pieces, right? And before that, like the average cost per lead, like I said, can vary, and it depends on the service focus. If you're just focused on 100% commercial, or a small percentage is residential, or only residential, or both. Like there's so many variables, right?
That can affect the cost per lead, you're saying?
It can affect everything, right? Everything,
Yeah, I could get more into that conversation, just take too much time today. Well, that's for another day in terms of how to get the cost per lead down. But you know, it also, another important thing is that you're driving the proper traffic to your website, whether it be through paid ads or through organic, and not having fluff or stuff that doesn't work, right? And you know, you can get leads, but the goal is you want to get quality leads that come to you that have buyer intent, not just ones that are coming for speculation, right?
Okay, so we've got clear goals and targets. We know how many we need. If you guys can all just put in a number, right? If you haven't done it, like put it in there. But whatever, you guys can save this for later. We'll get, if you guys want to like really play with that calculator on that worksheet, you'll have more time to do it after. We'll send you the replay anyway, so you guys can follow along.
Or if some of you can put in the chat like how many leads you need to hit your target, that would be helpful as well. What the chart spit out back at you.
Yeah, like how many leads? Just put that. How many leads based on if you filled out that calculator? How many leads do you need to reach your goal on a monthly basis?
Okay.
So that's the initial piece of this, anyways, and it's going to get clear. Like it's just getting clear on that particular number.
Mind if I take over?
Yep. Right.
All right. So the second thing we need to do now is figure out what our marketing strategy should look like in terms of generating that volume of leads. How do we get there? So we're going to walk you through what we call our accelerated growth model. So this is the model we found to be really effective to push you towards the accomplishment of that number. And it's different for everybody. So there's three things that you have to solve for. So number one is how we drive leads. Okay. The second thing is we got to figure out what's the marketing strategy, what's the play to generate that lead flow. Okay. Number two is we have to maximize conversion. So I think a lot of times when we think about marketing, we're just thinking about leads, but how do we get those leads? So there's SEO, which is search engine optimization. There's PPC ads, which is the Google ads or Bing ads or Meta and all that. There's such things as home advisors that comes up. So whatever the platforms are, we're thinking about leads. But the fact is, if we can't convert those leads into actual inquiries, into scheduled site inspections, into booked jobs, we're not going to get the result we want, right? So the average cost per lead is going to be too high. So there's no way to make it a reality. So what we got to do is maximize conversion, okay? And the number three thing is we have to optimize results. So going through 2025, you need to have a dial on, right? If I'm going to invest that amount of money, what's my ROI? What's my return on investment? What's my average cost per lead, right? And these are the numbers that we, in our agency with our clients, work on. What's the cost per lead? What areas are working? What areas are not? How can we get more of an ROI for our clients, right? And you guys thinking that way for yourself as well. How can you get more return on investment? So we need to optimize and figure that out, and what's actually generating the results. And these are things we look out for. Making sure we're investing our dollars into things that are going to have the lowest cost and the highest return on investment from a marketing perspective. So we're going to unpack these three things of a high level overview today on this session. So, all right. So the number one thing to drive lead flow is organic. We're a big fan of let's try to find opportunities to come up in the non-paid listings, okay, in the non-paid search results so that we can get the clicks. We can get those leads from organic and the lowest cost per lead possible. And what we find, we're a fan of everything, to be honest. We like the paid ads, the maps, and the organic listings, but we find that the lowest cost per lead comes from organic. And there's lots of things that can go into SEO. So for search engine optimization, the way that you structure the website is one way. The way that you structure the pages on the website, the way that we build authority, the links and the citations that we do is another way. And for those of you that don't know, citations is having your name, address, and phone number across all the directory sites on the internet. So that when Google crawls those, they recognize your company as well. Little thing, but it's a big thing. So we can go on for days on how to do your SEO for your asphalt paving and maintenance website, but that's a whole other session in itself. So there are some very specific things that you want to look at and that you want to pay attention to. And so just, I don't know if I'm blocking it here. You want to go ahead and explain this part?
Yeah, so just as an example here, one of the companies we work with, this is Permian Paving. They're based in Midland, Texas. They service 150-mile radius.
Okay, yeah.
150-mile radius in West Texas. And you can see, like, if we typed in here, asphalt paving, Midland, Texas, right? Just a general term, asphalt paving, asphalt contractor, asphalt paving company, also whatever areas they service. They service Midland, Odessa, and whatever other towns within the Permian Basin area, which is where they mainly service in the West Texas. And then you can see they come up typically in the top within the three-pack maps. They do very well organically. You can see them. They're in 3 spots on the first page of Google, right? So they do really well. And let me just switch the slide here. So here's another example. This is another client. Okay, this is a snapshot of a client of ours in Oregon, and we track very closely how much they're spending, how many leads are they generating, right? So you got their total spend in a month, the number of leads they generated, the average cost per lead, right? And just in this case, like we can see they spent $8,000 in their marketing. And so this is like including everything, like their Google ads, their SEO fees with us, everything combined for the online side of things. And we blurred out their logo just to keep their privacy in terms of what they invest, because our clients don't want others knowing how much they invest, because everybody wants to stay competitive, right?
In most cases.
In most cases, right? Especially if someone is coming into their town or whatever, right? So since we're talking about revenue goals and budgeting in this session today, we needed to show this example of expenditures as well, so that you can see the total, right? 83 leads, $97 average cost per lead, right? Before we gave an example of 150 or 100, like this is closer to 100. So this is kind of like where they're at in terms of like the cost per lead, right?
This one breaks down here too.
Yeah. So, and then you see down here, like you got 31 organic calls, 15 calls, that's from organic alone, 15 calls from paid. You got 19 calls from Google Maps, 18 form submissions, which gives you your total of 83 leads, right? And then what's important here is you can see that these two numbers combined, I believe what is 31 and 19, that's 50. So 50 out of 83 is all from non-paid results. So not the Google ads, but directly from people who found them on a non-paid result. So obviously their cost per lead from this whole thing is very low because of because they have that. And if they didn't have the organic rankings, they'd have to spend significantly more through paid sources to get to the same lead volume that they have here. And so really important, don't just overlook SEO and the importance of SEO. Like we want you guys to like make sure you're coming up organically. And I would say the least way to figure out if your SEO is optimized or not would be to let us do an analysis for you. Like we'll look at some of the most common keywords in your service area combined with the cities and towns you operate in, right? And we can run an analysis to show you like some of the keywords and how you're coming up. If you're not in the top 5 results, you're not tapping into the search opportunity really.
Before we move on, Paul, can I just speak to this 1 second?
Yeah.
So, sorry if I can just stand here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, with this particular client, 83 leads, I want to run some numbers based on what Scott told us. So 83 leads, did Scott say he is 40% closing rate?
40%. So
40% closing rate, that means he would close 33 new jobs. And I think if I remember correctly, the average sale was 15,000.
Yeah.
So that would equate to 498,000 in revenue based on that closing rate, that average job size on this investment on 8,000 based on Scott's metrics, it would be 498,000, which is, you know, on 10 months, that's 5 million. But even if, you know, things are too good, sounds too good to be true, cut that in half, throw half of that in the garbage and call it 250,000 in revenue for an $8,000 investment.
And that would be like a 30x on your
Yeah,
investment.
so I just wanted to point that out there.
Yeah, so, you know, back to what I was saying, like we do this on a regular basis for our clients as it's part of the, you know, our keyword tracking and ranking reports. But if you're not already working with us and you want us to show you, like free of charge, of course, just go to asphaltmarketers.com/schedule to lock in a time with us, and we'll show you on the discovery call. Like if you're ranking great, we'll tell you, hey, look, you're crushing it, your SEO is perfect. If it's not, we'll show you what are the missing components, right? So that we can help you tap into that correctly. And again, that's asphaltmarketers.com/schedule. If you want us to look into your rankings and like show you exactly where you're coming up today, we'll do that. Rosemary, can you drop that in the chat? And again, guys, these two numbers combined is 60% from organic. So just want to emphasize that as well, right? All right.
If you want, Paul, I can handle this. So the next thing we're going to talk about is number 2 is paid search. And we, you know, we can't just rely on SEO, even though it's great. And, you know, I always tell people I talk to, SEO is a work in progress. To set expectations, you gotta wait for it to reap the benefits. It could take 3 months, 6 months, 9 months for keywords to rank.
But it's a big solid foundation building.
Yeah, it's a solid foundation building, and if you can wait for the results, it will pay off tenfold. And the other thing too is year after year, by doing SEO to your website and making it that authority, you the results compound. You know, a lot of times I could talk to contractors and they just jump from agency to agency to agency, and they're just dabbling with 1,000 here, 1,500 a month, and nothing really works for them. They're never really happy with the results they're getting. So my advice is find the right agency and stick with it. Stick with the plan. Okay, so that's what I want to say about SEO and the expectations of waiting for that. But in terms of paid search, so we kind of think about it is the hierarchy of that is at the base, we need to do organic as a foundation. We have to make sure we have a good website. We have pages for each of our services. Okay, we want to make sure they are properly optimized, and we're doing authority development. We want to make sure that we're coming up in the non-paid results, right? The second priority would be paid search, so which is Google ads, Bing ads, and local service ads. Local service ads are they're at the above of the 3-pack where you see Google guaranteed at the top. Now, Google hasn't rolled this out for local service ads for the asphalt industry as of yet. Sadly to say that, we're still checking to see when they do. We know that based on our other agency friends who focus on landscape, pest control, legal services, plumbing, it is available to those industries as of now, local service ads. Okay, so that's, and when they do bring it to asphalt, we'll bring that to you guys as well to roll that out. It's just another form of driving leads locally in your area. It doesn't cut out paid search ads, it doesn't cut out SEO or any of that other stuff. It's just complementary. But that's a conversation for another day as to what local service ads are. So once this is all fully rolled out, like I said, we'll notify you. Either way, we're going to optimize the budget towards paid ads. So we're coming up for the people searching for now anyhow, asphalt paving, asphalt repairs, seal coating, maintenance, those type of services. The other thing is retargeting and automation. So retargeting is when we put a pixel on your website. And because when people come to your website, what happens is we can assume that they're most likely interested in your service and they're most likely in your service area, but we can retarget them. So what happens is they start to see your banner ads. They start to see you on Facebook, on Instagram, by being having that pixel and having them retargeted or remarketed on the search engines. So that's another thing we want to do that's big is remarketing. Some of you, I know you're already doing that, but for those of you that are not, you want to have those display ads with your logo, your core services, and maybe your service area, following people that come to your site and then go about their way on the internet. The next thing is we want to have automation so that we can follow up quickly on any leads. So as we roll out paid search, we want to be retargeting and putting automation in place. Do you want to take over this part, Paul?
Yeah, like for most of us, like to get to like a $5 or $6 million per year, that's usually enough. But there's enough opportunity with SEO, with Google Ads, with display advertising, which is like the retargeting campaigns to run the business. But up from there, if we're looking to go to like the 10 million or the 20 million, like we want to be the dominant players in our markets, right? We want to look at two things. Like number one is paid directories and pay per lead services. Like paid directories, obviously, we want to claim our free listings like on Angie's or Yelp and City Search and all those type of sites. But like most of those sites have a paid option as well, where you can say, hey, I'll pay a certain amount, like $500, $750, or $1,500 a month to have that paid listing. And like if you're already optimized, like if we already optimized our spend on, I say, Google Ads and hopefully local service ads soon, you know, like being in those paid directories can generate a return on investment as well. Sometimes it makes financial sense to try those out, right? Also, in every market, if you run like a search for your service, right? Plus the city, like let's say you put asphalt contractor in city, right? Check to see what some of those sites are that are there. You might see Angie's, Home Stars, or whatever. They'll come up to the top or close to the top, and you'll see that those are the type of sites that they're coming up there. So you might want to check some of those out and see what type of paid listings they offer, right?
Just know that, and some of you already know that some of those sites that are directories, they have to go into that site and then find your listing, or some of those companies might share the lead with 2 or 3 companies. So
yeah,
it's not as good as someone coming directly to your website.
Yeah, it's gonna
that
have
fills out a form on your website. There might be a little bit of a competition there.
Yeah, there'll be a little less lead score, I guess you can call it, on those, but it's still definitely worth something, because if you're in all these places, you want to have like an omnipresence. You want to be everywhere someone turns, right? And that's again to go to that next level, right?
So I just want to say we're coming up to the 90 minutes now, and I want to respect everyone's time who joined us today. Are you, the ones that are still on, are you okay with the flow of this? You're good, Scott? Okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll continue. And
okay, and again, so there's several pay-per-lead services that are out there, and like you're going to have those same leads again being sold to other contractors, whatever. But if you're using the automation stuff that we talked about before, speed to lead, you can beat those competitors out and win those, right? And again, that's tapping into sites like Home Advisor, Thumbtack, Home Stars, things like that, right? So just so you can have like an additional source of leads that you can turn on and turn off. Like sometimes you might not even need them, right? But if you want to turn them on, you can turn them on, right? So that's there. And now the highest point of the hierarchy here, and this is once you've got everything else kind of going from the bottom up, would be brand advertising. So like Facebook ads, TikTok ads, YouTube ads, like not usually it's not usually in a strategy if you're like less than 3 to 5 million per year. But if you're over that, you're already spending on the things that come before, like these, like organic foundation and the paid search and all that type of stuff. And you're also allocating budget to some offline things as well. This is something that you can do to get your brand recognition, like creating social ad campaigns to get in front of the audience who are similar to your ideal customers. Also being consistently in front of your existing customers and prospects. A big thing, which is part of brand awareness, is the organic posting of your social media, right? Having a well-optimized Instagram page, LinkedIn and Facebook, posting consistently, sharing informative content. If you're out of sight, you're out of mind, right? And by following like by a following of loyal customers, like your loyal customers following you and prospects and fans, you'll have the opportunity to engage with them regularly so that when they need your services or they know someone who does, they think of your company before anyone else, right?
Yeah, so I would agree with that. I think social media, posting on your social media is a big play as well. Sometimes it generates leads posting organically. We've heard of companies getting business that way, but at the very least, if someone goes to your website and they click on your Instagram, you want to make sure that you look just as professional on those platforms as well, and having that brand authority. And then going back to what Paulo said about the paid ads on Facebook, TikTok, and all that, and he mentioned maybe a better play is when you're at 3 to 5 million in revenue. When you're above that, you bring those in. It's not that you can't bring it in sooner, you could, but there's so much other work to get dialed in that people are actually searching for your services before you do a brand play on the social platforms. So we're not saying that they're not good, but maybe our strategy would be make sure you're dominating the search engines, getting the inbound leads from people searching for you before you spend your dollars on Facebook or TikTok ads. We have generated good leads from that too. So it just depends on the strategy. But I think that getting the SEO, paid search, online reviews dialed in, website first would be the main thing before we roll out to the paid social ads.
Yeah, and then no matter what you do, you got to make sure to follow up with these opportunities as quickly as possible, like using the automation we talked about. And of course, retargeting to anyone who's visited your website, right? So you're always top of mind. All right, so this is just another example, like kind of like a breakdown, just to give you guys more perspective, like when it comes to paid advertising, like Google Ads. Here's a fun scenario. Like, let's say you invest $10,000. Let's just say that's the budget, right? Just in Google Ads alone, paid advertising. And let's assume your cost per lead is $143, right? So that'll get you 70 leads on 10K, right? And your conversion rate is only 25%. So less than what Scott was telling us before that he closes, right? And then you got 70 leads at 25%, you got 17 booked jobs. And average ticket is 10K. We'll go even lower. And 17 of those jobs at 10K is 170,000. So even on a high budget, higher than the previous example we showed you, with a lower return of 170K, you still can make a 17x on your investment, which that's how, like, why paid is still good. You can't just do organic. You got to do both of them together, right? Especially the fact that with paid, you can go after every keyword. With organic, it takes time to go after every keyword. All right, so organic, paid, and then the next one is database. Okay, so for most of us, this is a big opportunity to generate lower cost booked jobs on a consistent basis. And a database is the customers that you've worked with in the past. It's the prospects that have acquired over time but didn't convert. Like, if you think about 2024, how many jobs didn't you convert? Now, if those are property managers, just because they didn't convert on a job you quoted them doesn't mean that they don't have other work coming up, right? So that's like, those are huge opportunities right there, going back to those people, right? Same with if it's a residential, if it's a one-off, you might follow up with them like through automation or whatever, like months later, and they still never did their project, right? They still never got it done. They just put it on the back burner for a while, right? So there's always opportunity. And I think, like most of us, we get enough lead volume coming in that we don't spend a lot of time thinking about marketing to our existing database, right?
Like a client reactivation campaign.
Yeah. And there's money in the database. So just as an example, we can on a monthly basis just drop an email or a text, and we find text message works best, right? But make an offer to past customers. right? And it doesn't have to be like a discount or coupon or any of that type of stuff. You could just say something like, I don't know, hi Jane, it's John from ABC Paving. Like, we're offering a free property inspection to check for any damages or vulnerability caused to your parking lots. Let's say due to extreme cold temperatures, snow and ice, whatever it is, right? If you're seasonal, right? I know you manage multiple properties, and I can visit each one to run an audit, right? That I can send you at no charge. You can say to them, and I can get this done for you ahead of the spring rush, right? And then maybe ending it off like, which property would you like me to go see first? Just so that you have a call to action, and kind of like you're pushing them to just maybe give you an address so you can go take a look, right? And get the ball rolling with them, right? So some people might say not interested right now. A few might say stop texting me, right? And they'll just put stop and just remove them from the system. But usually there's a percentage that will respond and take you up on it, and then we move them to the next stage of the site, like whether site inspection, sending a proposal, and then we can also integrate an automated booking process where we can get them scheduled in, right?
Yeah, so I would say that some of you or many of you are savvy with going back to your existing client base, but some of the examples that Paulo shared there is for sure don't ignore your current client base and asking what they have coming up this springtime to drum up some business even this month. So that could be a quick win if you're not fully tapping into it, or you do and maybe you just haven't got to it yet. Maybe this is a good reminder to go back to your current client base and ask what they got upcoming, that you can go do a site inspection.
So another example here, guys. Let's say you have a list of 1,200 contacts, right? And you send out a message, 44 reply to it. 16 go to site inspection, 4 closed deals, revenue generated, let's say 127K. Now, again, this is just an example, right? But you get the idea. Like, if you don't do it, you don't get it, right? If you do it and you get it, well, now this is like pretty much, there's no big marketing investment, just the time it takes to like write the email or the text and send it out, right? All right, so just to pause for a second, when it comes to generating the lead volume that you need for 2025, like we got organic, we got paid, and we got the database marketing. I want to ask you guys, if you guys can go scroll down to page 7 in your workbook, you're going to see this chart here, this graph, and I'll just keep going here just so that we can get through this. So if you get there, like, just look in the first column, because that's what we just talked about, like drive leads, organic, paid, database. Highlight like green. Like if you just highlight organic, highlight paid, highlight database. So highlight it. Whether it's green for organic, it's like, man, my website is coming up for all the keywords. That's green, right? Yellow, I don't really know if I'm coming up. I know, like, I don't know, I'm coming up for a few keywords, but there's a lot of terms that we're not.
A lot of room for improvement.
Yeah. And then red is like, you're not well optimized at all. Like, it, right? And if you're not coming up, like, you got to rate yourself, right? So rate yourself for these 3 things right here.
If you probably don't have a green, yellow, or red highlighter, so just write beside a green, yellow, or red in terms of how well you think you're driving leads in those 3 sections that Paulo mentioned: organic, paid, and database marketing.
Okay, and then find at least one opportunity, right? So hey, I really need to focus on, like, of the 3, I really need to focus on SEO, or I really need to focus on paid. Like, if one of them's red out of the 3, that's the one you need to focus on, right? So do that, and I'll just keep moving on. We're not going to like wait for you guys to get that done just so that we can get through this, but do that, and you're going to just assess these 3 things right now, right? All right, so next, The next thing we want to optimize is really like for accelerated growth is maximize conversion, right? So we got lead flow. Now we need to maximize the conversion, right? And there's really three things that will impact your conversion rate. Number one is website, like Greg mentioned earlier. The website is the number one thing that you got to work on to make sure it's going to convert, because your website is the hub of everything of your business, right? Now, a lot of people come to your website from their smartphones these days, and either way, they're going to wind up on your website before calling you, before inquiring. And if your website is built to convert, that's going to draw down the effect. Sorry, if it's not built to convert, it's going to draw down the effectiveness of everything that you do, right? So you can do whatever you want, all that marketing, drive everyone to your website. But if it's not going to convert, you're just hurting everything, right? And it's going to cost a lot more too. We got a lot of things we can share with you in your workbook about what we can do to optimize for conversion on your website. Like there's some very specific things in terms of like where to put your phone number, in terms of how to optimize for mobile, in terms of how to put authenticity to really make somebody want to choose you over the competition. We're not going to use this time to go through all that, right? That's like a whole other session in itself. But I just want to screen share. I'm going to screen share. I just want to pull up one of our client sites here. So this is one of our clients. They're based in, they're in West Texas as well. And let me just get to it real quick here. So a couple things.
Well, Paulo's looking for that. I just want to welcome. I see Olga came on. Hello, Olga. I think we saw your registration. I think you're coming in from Burnaby Blacktop. Do we see your camera's turning on there?
So guys, just to put a couple of things like to think about, is your website really built to convert? Like we get, very OCD in tracking what's your conversion rate on our website, right? We're tracking how many visitors got there, how many leads we generated. What does that mean in terms of your average conversion rate? Like you want to make sure that you're looking at your website through like this lens, right? And if you'd like to have us evaluate that for you, right? The structure and everything, again, the way to do that is book a discovery call with us and we'll look at that for you, right? Again, asphaltmarketers.com/schedule. Just go there, book a date and time, and we'll do that one-on-one with you. And we'll look at all of your online presence, really, not just the website, the organic, online reviews, and we'll tell you, hey, look, here's why your website's not converting as it should, right? Or a few more things here, right? Personality, authenticity. If your website's is using stock imagery, or that's hurting your conversion rate. People want to do business with people that know, like, and trust. Leverage video and multimedia, right? All that type of stuff. Like you want to make sure your website has it all. So back to this client that we have up on the screen. Let me just, I lost my screen. You guys probably see my shared screen, but I'm just trying to find which one it is. All right, Greg, if you want to kind of like just take over this screen and just show them this, go through some of the things.
Sure. So here we have Danny's Asphalt Paving, as Paulo mentioned, in West Texas. The number one thing you want to have on your website is your logo, very prominent, top left corner. People, when they visit a website, their eyes scan left to right. So as they move to the right, you want to have the phone number large enough that they can see it, and they can either call you right away or get a quote, right? So they click the quote form. The other thing is these slides, when they land on your site, you want to have your first slide about your company as a whole and what you do, and then the following slides to be about your core services. And we usually put anywhere from 5 to 7 slides, depending on the company. So that's a good thing. And they also link to those pages. And then as you scroll down here, you have a little bit about the company with a video, right? Showing their trucks, their branded trucks, their core services. Again, the homepage acts like a dashboard. Okay, so these all link to the inner pages. You want to have the project gallery. And then once they get there, your photos are all segmented, and your videos in terms of residential, commercial, industrial, and if you do municipal. Right? And then here a little bit about their sectors: commercial, industrial, institutional, and municipal paving. And lastly, subdivision. They also do aviation paving. Another video. Then we have their blog posts, okay, having all their articles in line here that are relevant to what they do and then their service area. Some call to actions, some reviews, and then the footer here as well, which is their logo again and all the links to get to where you got to go to. Another thing that I don't see on every website is the sticky header. So you see at the top here how as I'm scrolling up or down, their logo and the navigation and the phone number stays with us. That's another thing for making your website high converting. To some of you, that's like, yeah, my site has that. But to many of you, your site probably doesn't do that. So that's a nice conversion tactic there. And you want to have a quote form on every page as well, not just on your contact us page. Okay.
And throughout pages, like on any page, service page, you want to have like the navigation at the top, you have your services, service drop down. But on any page of the site, you should have clear call to actions throughout the content. Like if it's a button to get a quote, to contact you, to if they have questions, or the phone number. It should be multiple places. That way it's always easy for someone to take action on your website, right?
Another thing, last thing I'll mention on this, I don't want to go too deep into it because it'll take too long, but another thing I see oftentimes is that the services are all congested on one page. They should be each on their own page speaking to that market. So if it's parking lot paving or commercial, industrial driveway paving, roads and roadway paving, asphalt repairs, asphalt seal coating, those should each be on their own pages as well to make the website higher converting. And when you get to those pages, they should have a compelling headline, a little bit about the service, some bullet points of the sub-services you do within parking lot paving, for example, and then with a call to action to get them to call or fill a form. And then what we were talking about today, if you can incorporate some authentic video, walking them through a parking lot based on the service page they're on, that will help with conversions as well. Because everyone wants to look like they have a professional company, which you should, but people like to do business with people, not so much businesses. They connect and build relationships with you. All right.
Another example.
Here's another one, Empire Paving. So actually, Vince was on with us. He just hopped off. This is his company. Again, in this case, we put their logo down the center. Now, when Empire came to us over a decade ago, they were, they've been in the asphalt industry for a long time. They were a successful business nonetheless. But their brand wasn't there, and their online presence was at minimal. I don't even know if they had a website. Maybe they had just like a little square online.
Yeah, Flash. I think it was Flash. Back then, Flash didn't even work.
Yeah, and their logo was at the time, we're talking over 10 years ago, was just like some Times New Roman font, Empire Paving. No one in the company really cared. They were just more about getting work. And then they entrusted in us to help them redesign their brand. And now this logo that they're very proud of has been put on all their dump trucks, their pavers, their rollers, their pickups, skid steers, and everything else involved. So that's one thing, which was the brand. We are already on our second website of the relationship with them, we did one right away that got dated, 5 years passed, 7 years passed per se. That got dated. It was time to revamp. So we revamped into this one. Now this one, we are in 2025, and we're going to look at it to make even more edits to make it better each year, because the bones and the look of it is really good. It just needs some edits. If I can critique it, and it's our own work, is the phone number a bit larger top right. So just small conversion strategies like that. There's more throughout, but we always look to keep our clients' websites fresh, clean, and well converting.
We're also going to be integrating the automation with the CRM, right? So all that's going to be integrated with this site this year as well.
And then you have your home, about us. In their case, they have about us, careers page, health and safety, right? Their commercial clients want to see that that they are on top of their game in terms of safety guidelines and having safety meetings with their team out in the field. We have all these area served pages that are specific to the areas they service. And then getting even more granular to that, you can have sub-service pages per city or town with all the different services you provide. And that's a big driver in ranking organically. As I move along, there's their project gallery. I won't go into it. FAQs, health and safety, their blog, which is full of blog posts related to the work that they do and their team. You have your different slides. The first one was about the company. The second one, you got parking lot paving, concrete paving work, road and roadway paving, asphalt repair and maintenance, gravel installation and grading, driveway paving. And they have it in order of importance to them. They're mainly a commercial industrial company. They've recently introduced some minimal residential work that we market for them as well. Okay, and then as you go along, you got a bit about the company, as we showed you in the other one, their services. Okay. This links to their project gallery. And then they have a form here where you get a free paving consultation estimate. We force the name, email address, phone number, and service that you're interested in. We also like to force the property address, because when a lead comes into you guys, we want you to see the address, right? Not just it's a lead. What's the address? Is it residential? Is it commercial? You can go on Google Earth, have a look at the driveway or parking lot, and get some intel before you even call them. So that's good to have on every page. Again, homepage acting like a dashboard, projects completed, their team size. Here we have associations they're a part of. Okay, let's scroll there as well. Some blogs and their footer. So I'll leave it at that. I won't go in the inner pages for now, but just to give you an idea of a professionally designed website. Now we're approaching the 2-hour mark here. So the thing is, with digital marketing, we can talk to you guys for 2 days, never mind 2 hours. So
This is one of the most important webinars we do of the year, like the planning with our clients and all that type of stuff, because it's what's gonna set the whole year, that goal. Like, if you want to reach that goal, this is what it takes, right? Like, sometimes you gotta like kind of sit down and really plan it and think it through carefully, right?
well, can we skip to the budgeting part, like of percent of revenue and all that?
Yeah.
That discussion.
Yeah, if you want to get to that over here. Over here. We're just gonna skip a few parts here, guys, just so that we can finish this.
I'll have you look for that, Paul, if you can. But so basically, in terms of a marketing budget and selecting a budget that's right for your business, some paving contractors or maintenance contractors have never really thought about how to determine what a right marketing budget is for them. And so in the business world, and if you Google this and all that, it's said that if you want to maintain the current revenue or business you have right now, at a minimum, you should be spending 5% on marketing to maintain what you have. Companies who are in growth mode will spend anywhere from 6 to 15% of revenue on marketing, right? So, and as we talked about earlier, sometimes a growth goal for some of you is just the pressure of keeping what you already have. So you got to keep reinvesting into marketing to make sure that you don't lose market share to competitors. Because as awesome as we all think we are, there's always people trying to take our business, right? So at the very least, you want to have 5% of revenue into marketing as a budget if you want to maintain. And if you're in growth mode, we would say 6 to 10. Some companies can go as aggressive as 15% of revenue. Now, for some of you, that can look like a really big number. Like when you do 10% of revenue, like, man, on 3 million, that's 300,000, right? And you've never come close to spending something like that. But it's not just for online. When we talk about these budgets, we're talking about everything. We're talking about marketing you put into wrapping your trucks. We're talking about marketing you're putting into the local newspaper. I know many don't read those as much anymore. Maybe you have some signage at the local hockey rink, whatever it may be. Those are all marketing expense, not just online. What are other things that come to mind in terms of marketing?
Well, even like repeat and referral business, right? Like past clients, gifting, sending them gifts, thank you gifts or holiday, like Christmas gifts. If you're maybe you want to take a property manager out for lunch, right? That's part of marketing. Those costs, that's marketing to your past clients to try to get more business out of them, right?
But with that being said, we advise to spend a big portion of that percentage on digital marketing because it is one of the biggest drivers of new business these days, right? All forms of marketing are good as long as you're getting a return on investment. And we would suggest, and a lot of people in the marketing world would suggest, giving 70% of that budget to digital marketing, okay? So if 10% of your annual revenue is too big of a number, you've never even come close to that, think about what 5% looks like, right? What does 5% of your revenue look like in terms of investing 70% into digital marketing, which breaks down into everything we spoke about, and then the other 30% into your vehicle wraps, signage, local advertising in community centers, or whatever that looks like, churches, wherever you put your advertising dollars. But that is a very good way to determine how much you should be investing or how much you're willing to invest.
Yeah, and if you pull up this sheet, this is the second sheet in your worksheet. The second tab at the bottom is called budget allocation. If you open this up, it'll already have your annual projected revenue goal that you put on the first sheet. It'll automatically have it populated. But again, you can play around in that green cell right there. Just put 5%, 10%, 4%, 3%, whatever. Play around with the budget.
First, your annual projected revenue.
No, that'll automatically populate. Just in the green one. Just put that in there, and it'll calculate for you. It'll break down everything for you based on what's here, and it'll say, okay, let's say 80% is going to be allocated to online marketing, because we don't want you putting all your marketing budget towards online, right? But maybe 80% to online, and then you got 10% to offline, like the things that Greg said, and then 10% to like repeat and referral business, like past customers. And this once you do that, once you put your percentage here, let's say a 5% marketing budget, it'll automatically calculate all this. It'll tell you how much of the annual budget is going to go to online marketing, offline marketing, repeat business, and then it's going to break it down by month. So how much per month is going to go to online marketing, how much per month you should be spending to offline, how much month you should be spending to repeat and referral. And then if you go further down, it's already populated once you put your numbers just that one number at the top, and it'll just break it down by Let me see here. I think the camera froze for a second there, guys. Yeah, so it'll break it down by after that, like the online marketing will break down by SEO, PPC, and display retargeting. Again, this is all just a guide. It's a guide to have some type of metrics and KPIs that we work towards. So that way, you're not just blowing money, you know, throwing it in the wind and seeing what happens with it. Like we can really like make sure that you get an ROI.
So just to do you want to say anything more on that?
No, that's it.
Just to finish that off. So in your marketing budget planner, play with the numbers on that.
Just just the top green spot is where you need to put a number in there, a percent, and that's it.
And then once again, just to repeat, 5% to remain static in your business, 6 to 15% investment for moderate growth, and 15% plus for accelerated growth. And you see where you fit in that realm. All right, Paulo, do we have a lot more to cover? Or
No, let me just see. I think
let's skip through your. I think
pretty
we've
much
covered a bunch today, and
yeah,
let's keep it at this.
I told you guys at the beginning we're gonna pour all our passion into this. There's a lot more that we can go through, but
I think we have to book a 2-day seminar for this.
yeah, maybe we gotta do like a week-long seminar. Get you guys all to come. Maybe we'll do it one day. We'll host a lunch or something. Guys, here's the thing. Like, hopefully we've given you guys enough information, enough insight, you know, to put that in place and to help you guys have a clear picture and to help you get the outcomes you desire for 2025 and beyond, right? And if you'd like our help, we'd love the opportunity to do this with you, like one-on-one. Not today, we were kind of just talking about the big picture. We were like able to show you some examples. Like what works best is like if we pull up your website, we'll look at you know, see where you rank. We can look at how much you're spending. We can look at the budgeting process, like all the stuff we're talking about. Like we can go through all that with you, and we can reverse engineer the plan specific to your situation, right?
Yeah.
Specific to your market. And so if you'd like us to do that, again, it's completely free. We're going to invest like a lot of time and energy to do that analysis, but we'd love to do it. Like this is what we do. And again, our mission is to help 500 contractors in North America. Like that's our goal, you know, in the next 5 years. So if that's of interest to you, again, go to asphaltmarketers.com/schedule and just put in your information, select the date, time, what that works best for you. And again, we'd love to connect and go through this process. Is there anything?
No, I think that's it for today. We can go on for hours, but if you have any questions for us, feel free to email us or, like we said, book a discovery call and we'll get more specific to your business. I hope you got a lot of insight today in what we shared. We went a little over time, but that's okay. We're passionate about each topic.
We're here to serve you guys. So for us, it's okay. We know your time's valuable and we don't want to keep you too long.
And there's a few of you left here. If this was valuable to you at any level today, would you type valuable in the comments to let us know that you learned a thing or two based on this webinar? Any final, for those of you that are on here, any final questions or anything that you want to bring up? Olga, good stuff. I don't see you there, but please say hello to Adrian for me. Wendell says valuable. Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate valuable, good stuff. Awesome. Alex, great stuff.
Guys,
Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
yeah, thank you so much. If there's anything you guys ever need, we're always here for you, okay? We're here to serve you, so
Appreciate your time. I know that you guys took time out of your day for this, so I hope we, in exchange, gave you some takeaways that you can take into your business. And if you want us one-on-one, just reach out, okay?
and we'll send you guys a replay, okay? By tomorrow, sometime tomorrow. We'll send you guys a replay of all this so that if you missed anything, you'll have it all, okay?
Okay, bye for now, everyone. Take care.
Enjoy your week.
Thanks, guys.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Alex.
Thank you.